Hello guys, welcome back to Sweet and Sour Soccer. We hope you are well. I can't believe we are doing a video. Anyone that would have said to me at the start of the season, after 3 games, you'll be doing a video of this nature. Actually, no, Nuno is a god, so maybe it could have happened. Guys, before we jump in, hit that sub button, please, please, please. It does mean a lot. We are a bit prematurely on the road, I should say, to 1,000, but we are getting there. We are getting there.
Yeah, and it's free. So guys, just hit the sub button if you're not subscribed. It costs nothing. But right, let's jump straight into it.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Spurs win the title. I mean, at the moment, 3 games, 3 wins, not conceded, scored 3 goals. I mean, could it happen? Could it happen? I mean, it's interesting, isn't it, as well? Because I feel they've had a really good summer as well. I mean, you probably would have said their weaknesses last season. You would have looked at that right back position. You probably would have looked at that centre back position.
Yeah,
they've made some good signings in both of those, haven't they? Really,
players leaving the club as well. Is it that Foyth, who I think they got good money for, double figures? They got 11 million for Toby Alderweireld. No one's ever blamed. No one's ever put any blame at Levy's door for transfers. He gets money for players and he never pays over the odds, and he's kept Kane. But does their summer equate to the Premier League trophy? I know we've put the title of the video as Spurs Premier League winners or whatever it is. Can they actually win the league? Okay, let me ask you this. Do you remember Leicester? No one believed they'd win it up until literally I was going to say January, but no, giving them credit. Even until March, it was like, nah, they're probably not going to do it.
That's it.
Where would it get to at the point in the season where you go, hang on a minute?
Could it? And I think that's one of them, isn't it? I think maybe around Christmas, I think because of Leicester, people start to maybe start wondering. I mean, you've got to remember, haven't you? I mean, obviously, I think last season it was called the Kazoo Premier League because Aston Villa, Everton, both sponsored by Kazoo, got off to an absolutely mad start and both on the Premier League title at one point in the early stages. So, I mean, look, it is early doors. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because you look at their signings as well. Obviously, they brought in Gill, who's only 20 years old. I've got it here. Yeah. Emerson, the right back, only 22. Yeah. Papa Sarr, I think I butchered his first name, but he's a defensive midfielder. Won't see a lot of him, but only 18. And then obviously Romero, who's going to be their star centre back, you think. So, you also brought in a good age of players. It's a hard one, isn't it, with Spurs, because they've definitely got the goals. I think Harry Kane's going to come back firing, isn't he? I reckon, after the international break. Now all this has gone, I think the international break will help him clear his head. And I think they've got. So what do you need to win the league? You need a goal scorer that could have 2 of them in Son and Kane. And you probably also need a really stable defence. They've conceded 0 goals at the moment. And
also on that, it's not just the signings which you mentioned. They've found players within the squad that seem to have stepped up, i.e. Skip a little bit this season. I think it's too early for him. But Tanganga as well. Who'd have thought he'd have started the way that he has? And can he get that partnership with their new signings? I do feel like they are strong in all positions. In the past, they would have struggled in midfield. Their defence was dying. It was really their attack. But now they look solid.
They do, don't they? And I think they're, you look at it, and one thing you would say, they've won every game 1-0. They probably weren't the better team against Wolves. They weren't the better. Against Watford as well. Let's not forget, it wasn't a convincing win. But the but to that is sometimes you need that team that, when they're not performing at the best, can still get over the line. And I think they've shown that in all 3 games so far this season, which is really interesting. And you've got to say, obviously, okay, Kane's played in 2 of them, but he hasn't played to the top of his ability.
No, and I do agree with that. But you mentioned the Wolves result and the Watford result. They also did beat City. Let's not take it away from them. Nuno, how much say would he have in Spurs potentially winning the league? Let's pretend that they can. I'm going to say it. I don't think they will. And I think even the most Spursy of Spurs fans, the hardest, biggest, most beloved football fan of Tottenham Hotspur does not believe they will win the league. But is it down to the players? Is it about Kane scoring 25 goals? Can Son get 18? Can Moura chip in with 10? Can Tanganga, and Lloris have seasons of their lives? Or can Nuno have an impact? Or is it just the players?
I think he can have a massive impact. And one thing I was always critical of him at Wolves is his style of play, obviously as being Wolves fans. But one thing I would say about this move to Spurs is he now has those kind of what I'd call world-class players, your Sons, your Kanes, who, when you're having a really average game, they can pop up from nowhere. I mean, Dele Alli's also come into a bit of inspired form as well. And we all know what an early start to the season can really do. It can, I think he handled the Kane situation really well. He didn't segregate him, but at the same time, he made it all about the team that was available at the time. So I think he's made his transition back into the team well. And look, we know he likes to play a defensive game. He's been compared to Mourinho in the past, but if he can out Mourinho, I'm with you. I don't think they can win the league, but is there a possibility that I don't think anyone would have put Tottenham in the top 4? So let's talk about that. Can they make the top 4?
I think I predicted them 7th, I want to say. I'll double check that. I think I said 7th, maybe 6th. Now you're looking at it and thinking, is top 4 the aim after such a good start?
I think you have to. And I think what I'd say is it's a really interesting one, isn't it? Because under normal circumstances, looking at their team, you'd probably go, what I want to say is if let's go back to last season, City dominated. The year before that, Liverpool dominated. And I think there was a few ifs, a few teams around that kind of general area. The way Tottenham have strengthened, if it was one of those seasons, you'd probably have them nailed on for the top 4. The question comes because of how strong other teams around them will have also improved. City have improved. Liverpool have got all their fit players back. United, Chelsea making massive signings as well.
Could that help Spurs? The fact that people are talking about there being 4 teams to win the league, the most open Premier League title race for, maybe 10, 15 years since the mid-2000s. Could that help Spurs? Because City are going to drop points to Man U and Chelsea and Liverpool. Man U are going to drop points to City, Liverpool and Chelsea. They're all going to take points off each other. West Ham are going to take points off the top teams. I think Wolves will. I think Villa will. Could that help Spurs?
I think it could, couldn't it? And I think there's going to be pressure on those teams as well. I mean, let's not forget United, for example, if we're talking about the top 4 argument. United, and I'd say United, I mean, Ollie is going to have a hell of a lot more pressure on him to perform. They've brought back Ronaldo. That's going to come with expectations as well. And there's an argument about how much are they actually going to get out of him. Chelsea, I think Tuchel can handle that pressure. I think he'll welcome the new signings. But, there's also going to be pressure on Liverpool. Liverpool fans are never going to put pressure on Klopp. But if they don't start performing, could there become a negative atmosphere there in regards to the board? We already know they're not happy with the board. So if Tottenham can keep a really good feel going about the place, look, they've kept Kane, and I think that will kind of smooth over now. I think Spurs fans will welcome him back in.
Of course.
They've had a good transfer window. I think sometimes positivity around the club can really lift a club up the table. I think we've seen that with Leicester last year, West Ham last year. Yes, brilliant players. We're seeing that already with both of those clubs. But sometimes just having a real feel-good factor around the club can definitely help lift a club further up the table.
I completely agree. I do. I'm going to put you on the spot then. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Yes or no, can they win the league? Can they get top 4? Will they finish above Arsenal?
I mean, can I start with number 3? Because I think that's the easiest of them all. I think even Arsenal fans would probably reluctantly say, You know what? They probably are. So yeah, I'll say they're going to finish above Arsenal.
Yeah.
Do I think they're going to win the league? No, I don't think they will win the league, but what I will say is they can.
Yeah.
They can. You know, they can. It's going to be unlikely, but let's put it this way: it's not 5,000 to 1 Leicester odds, is it? You know,
no.
I haven't actually looked at the bookies, but you're probably thinking around the 50, maybe 60 to 1 for Spurs. I'd feel would be a fair bet, maybe. And then the last question: do I think they're going to make the top 4? My preseason prediction said not, but do you know what? I have a feeling they might, and I'm going to be controversial here. I feel it's going to be at United's expense. I really do, but maybe I'm massively underestimating Man United. I've not been impressed with them so far, and I don't know how much Ronaldo. Look, Ronaldo's fantastic, but I don't know how much he's going to perhaps add to that. I've got to be completely honest. I still don't see them challenging for the league. I think there's 3 clear better teams there. Let's throw the same question over to yourself, mate.
Yeah, they'll definitely finish above Arsenal. I'd put good money on that. I don't think they will win the league. I would love it from a neutral one because it's another name on the trophy, which is even more unbelievable advertising for the Premier League. I think it'd be great for Nuno. Obviously, I'm a big Nuno fan, so I'd love that to happen. I don't think they will do it, though. Top 4, do you know what? I just don't trust Ollie, man. Like, I put them to finish 4th, and I just don't. Can I go out the box and give it? I might do it, just for Nuno, just because I love Nuno. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Spurs to finish in the top 4.
Well, there you go, guys. We have predicted Spurs will finish in the top 4. Let us know if you believe they're going to win the league. Let us know if you think we're absolute morons for pretty much saying they're going to finish in the top 4. Spurs fans, if you're watching this, show some love. Hit that subscribe button. As you can tell, guys, we are a general football channel. We do lots of general football content. So, there'll be something for everyone. So please hit that subscribe button. James, any final words?
Spurs top 4.
You heard it here first. See you on the next one.